Hi everyone, Phil from Tech for Techs here. When I hear the word Arctic, I think cold. The brand Arctic are renowned for their vast array of cooling products. Today we have this new product from Arctic. It's the Arctic Liquid Freezer 2 360 A-RGB, and they also do a standard RGB version as well. The A-RGB version retails at about 130 UK pounds, while the standard RGB version retails for roughly around about 125 pounds. We do have links in the description just below if you're interested in purchasing.
From high-speed networking to enterprise storage, at Ortial we have a solution for you. We're a UK-based vendor specialising in computer hardware components, so whether you're powering a data centre or upgrading a laptop, we can help. At Ortial, you'll get a dedicated account manager that gets to know you and your business, supporting you from our head office in Yorkshire. All our products are OEM compatible, tested in-house to ensure performance. And what's more, we offer a 5-year warranty across all our SSD range and lifetime on our memory. Want to find out more about our partner programme? Visit ortial.com.
Okay, so we're looking at the Arctic Liquid Freezer 2 360 A-RGB. If you're not sure what this is, it is basically a water cooler. 360 stands for how long in millimetres it is from there to there, basically, because it's got 3 120mm fans. Obviously, 3 times 120 is 360. This is an A-RGB version, that means addressable RGB. Some people call it digital, but the basics is it's a 3-pin connector, which is 5 volts, which plugs into your motherboard, which allows you to get these RGB effects. Now they do have a plain RGB version available as well, so it's called basically the same thing, but they get rid of the A there, so it's just called the 360 RGB. That would plug into a 4-pin 12 volt connection on your motherboard or controller. But let's have a quick look at the box. As you can see you can see the water cooler. It's quite colourful there. Looks like the colouring is just on the fans itself. The box is nice and colourful, a lot more colourful than their non-RGB boxes, what they have. For example, there. They've really upped the game on the packaging, that's for sure, since they brought the RGB versions out. Right, so on here it also tells you you've got a 6-year warranty. It tells you it's addressable. It comes with MX5 compound. That's the thermal paste they put on the actual base of the water block or the CPU block to cool down the CPU, and that's their new compound, which is pretty good, and it's compatible with all your standard RGB software and so forth from there. Okay, on this side of the box it goes through the basic specifications on here. I'm not going to go through all those now, but the basics is these are all in the description below, and we'll also have some pop up on the actual screen so you can see all the specifications. There's also a QR code on the side there. On the other side you've got support and feedback. They've got a QR code for that as well. Arctic like their QR codes if you haven't gathered. And on the back, surprisingly or not, there is another QR code for an online manual as well. The reason why Arctic put loads of QR codes usually on products is because they don't usually include a lot of paperwork like manuals. It's so you can basically save the environment, they're saving the environment, saves them money, saves you money, and so forth. So you just scan the online manual with your phone and it will obviously take you to the website and tell you how to use it and so forth. Obviously you can just go onto the internet and go to Google and do a search for it and you'll find it as well on their website. Also it tells you about the specifications here in different languages, or not really specifications, just basically what it is in different languages just in case. Okay, so this is what's in the box. Well, first of all, inside the box everything was in plastic bags. There's plenty of them, so one of the things what Arctic need to do if they do like to be carbon neutral and look after the environment is some way get rid of a lot of these plastic bags, because to be honest with you, some of them are wrapping this water cooler up and then the pipes up and so forth, which okay, keeps it nice and protected and everything you might think, but it's also wrapped in cardboard inside the box as well and separated, so I don't see really the need for it. Obviously screws and stuff in plastic bags, yes, you can get cardboard boxes and stuff to put them in and so forth, but I'll let them off with those because that's just a minor thing. Most places do that, but again, you don't really need plastic bags all over the water cooler, but that's my personal opinion, and I think they'd save the environment a bit more if they did follow that advice. But right, let's go on to the rest of the content. So first of all, you've got MX5, that's your thermal compound, so there's just enough for you to apply yourself onto your cooler. Obviously, it's up to you. If you use that, you can use your own if you want, but they do supply MX5, which is a very good compound. You've also got some rings as well. These are basically to support the holes, what you're going to put the screws through on your motherboard and so forth. So it's just extra protection for your motherboard. Helps stop things like scratching your motherboard and damaging contacts and stuff like that. You've got 2 bags of screws and bolts and plastic covers and so forth, which we'll go through in a bit. On top of that, you've got the back plate. This goes on the back of your motherboard. So your motherboard will be there, sits on top of it with the CPU on top there, and then you would screw in 4 of these screws through the motherboard into the back plate, and then the water cooler then screws onto top of that, depending on which make you've got. If it's an AMD processor or Intel, you'd have different brackets attached to the water cooler, so that would screw onto there, for example, if you're using Intel, or you've got AMD versions which you can use as well. Okay, so let's have a look at the cooler itself rather than a bunch of old screws. Okay, so as you can see, it's got 3 fans on it. They're both, or should I say all 3 of them, are 120mm fans. They are all addressable RGB fans, and it's Arctic's own fans, which is pretty good. If you're not sure what RGB or the difference between RGB and ARGB is, ARGB means addressable red, green, blue, which basically means that each section of the fan can be a different colour at any one time, where standard RGB means the whole fan has to be the same colour at the same time. So for example, on standard RGB the fan would be green, and then the whole fan would change into a yellow or a blue and then a red and so forth. With addressable RGB you can have sort of a rainbow effect on there, very similar to what they've got on their box, where each individual part of the fan can be a different colour at any one time. Let's take a closer look at the actual radiator itself. So as you can see here, you can see all the fins on here. All the fins are nice and neat. They look pristine. We see a lot of radiators come in where you can see little bumps and snags and stuff in them, even chips on them. Well, whoever did make the radiator for this, if it was Arctic themselves or if they outsourced it, they've done a very good job. So obviously it's got all the holes on there where you can screw it into your case as well. Now, one of the main things what I like about the Arctic coolers, if you have a look, is the lack of cabling. Normally, if you get a water cooler, there'll be a cable coming from each fan coming out. And then if it was one what's got RGB on it, there'll be another cable coming out. So 2 cables from each fans, and then they usually meet up with a big controller or a mess, or even they're all left individual, so you have to plug each one individually into your board. But in Arctic's case, they basically do all the cabling for you and then feed it down the actual water pipes to the water block. So all you have to plug in is one cable for your fan speeds and the pump speed. That's a PWM connection, so it's a 4-pin fan connection, and then the addressable RGB header, or if you've got the RGB version, the RGB header, and that's it. So you don't have to mess about loads of cables up here and basically a spider's web of cables. It's all neat, it's all tidy. The piping itself has got sort of a mesh over the piping, so it's not just rubberized, and that mesh has got, I call it a train track design, because it looks like 2 little rails running around and round and round and round each pipe, which does look quite nice. Let's have a quick look at the water block, or the CPU block, or whatever you want to call it. So you've got it here. It looks quite different than a lot. Most CPU blocks are usually square or round, like a cylinder shape, where theirs is very different. And Arctic do spend a lot of money designing their water box, or CPU block should I say, mainly because they're run on a lot less power and they're a lot quieter. than other ones on the market. And they come with an added bonus. They come with this little fan here. Well, that's not really to cool down the water inside of the cooler or anything like that. It's not like an additional cooler for this. The actual fan, when it's on your motherboard, that fan is generally pointing upwards, and it blows the air onto the VRM on the motherboard, and that keeps part of your motherboard cool, which other coolers wouldn't normally do. So it's sort of doing two jobs in one. It's cooling your VRM on your motherboard, and then the rest of the cooler is obviously cooling down your CPU, which is pretty good. This bit unfortunately doesn't light up with RGB on or anything like that. The only bit what's got the colour lighting on is the fans. The bottom of the CPU block, here as you can see, is copper. Let's just peel off that little bit of plastic. Obviously, make sure you do peel that bit off. We see it a lot where people actually forget to peel that off and put the thermal paste directly on it. That's not going to help. So make sure you peel that off, put your thermal paste on directly on the CPU, and then this on top. I've already screwed in two Intel brackets here so we can connect it up to a motherboard so I can give you a demonstration. So that's pretty much it. As you can see, it's very neat and tidy, and compared to a lot of water coolers we come across, it's very difficult to keep all the cabling nice and neat and tidy, where this is pretty simple. It's just two little cables. And if you go for the non-RGB version, so the standard liquid freezer 2s, they only have one cable, so even less to worry about. So that's a bonus to me. Okay, we've got a motherboard here just to show you briefly how to connect it up and set it up really quick. But bear in mind, if you want more in-depth instructions, I would suggest you check the Arctic website or the QR code they give you, or even YouTube, because they do have demonstration videos available. This isn't really a how-to fit it video, it's more of a review. But basics is, you will want to put the back plate on the motherboard. It just pushes on, it's keyed, so it will only fit one way. There's sort of like a little screw there, which it actually jumps over. This is an Intel board. Obviously, if you're AMD, you're going to do it slightly different way. Then you get these four standoff screws what screw through the motherboard and into that back plate, which is pretty straightforward. And then you get your water block or your CPU block, and with the fan, what's on the top to cool the VRMs, that points upwards, and it basically just pushes onto the CPU block there, and then you put the four mounting screws in each corner, and away you go. Obviously, you would need a CPU on your motherboard. You do need to put the thermal paste on there as well. This is just demonstration. And again, you can see where that little fan is there. That will spin round and then help cool this area up here. So it's doing two jobs in one. The little fan's cooling that area, and then obviously the CPU block is keeping the CPU cool, and then obviously taking all the heat into the radiators and then exhausting them out of your case with the fans. Okay, so down to testing. All testing was done on the same machine. The only difference between the machine is obviously when we changed the water cooler itself. All fan speeds were set at either 50% or 100%. We don't use auto mode because obviously auto mode will adjust these fan speeds automatically to cool it down more if the machine gets hotter. So we use set speeds when doing testing. The specifications for the machine are in the description below, but in basics we use the 10700KF i7 Intel processor. The only things we changed on each test was the water cooler itself, as well as the thermal paste, and our thermal paste of choice was Arctic MX5 thermal compound. Okay, in this first test we're checking the idle temperatures, and this is where the machine runs and does nothing. So it's turned on and it's just doing nothing with the fans running at 50%. You can see all the liquid freezer 2s running at roughly 21, 22 degrees with an Intel stock cooler, which we're using for comparison, running at 27 degrees. On the right hand side you can see the RGB version and the A-RGB version of the liquid freezer 2. The RGB version is 240mm, the A-RGB version is the 360mm one we're reviewing today. In this next test we've run the machine at 100% load. That means we make the machine run as hard as it can for 30 minutes, and with the fan running at 50% speed and get the average temperature. And as you can see here, the ARGB version performs very well at 56 degrees. It's only 1 degree behind the non-RGB version, which is running at 55 degrees. So it's doing pretty well. On this next test, it's basically the same again, but this time we're running the fan at 100% speed. And you can see the ARGB version's coming in at 53 degrees, which is only 1 degree behind the 360mm non-RGB version. So it's doing really, really well again. So that's really good, because a lot of RGB coolers, to be honest with you, perform very poorly, because generally they don't suck as much air through the fans in comparison, which I think it is the case here, but again, it's not affecting it as much as some coolers we've seen on the market. On this test, we overclocked the processor to 5.1 GHz, again running the fan at 100%, running the test for 30 minutes. We're getting 67 degrees Celsius. That's pretty good, to be honest with you. It's only 2 degrees behind the non-RGB version, so that is performing pretty well. And to be honest, for 2 degrees doesn't make a huge difference in the overall state of overclocking, to be honest with you. If you're getting 67 degrees on an overclock processor, you're doing pretty well. So what there is to say what's really bad about this cooler? Well, first negative, and it's going to be expected, it doesn't cool as well as the non-RGB version, which is going to be expected because the actual airflow through the RGB fans is not as high as the non-RGB versions. But other than that, that's pretty much the only negative I can think of. They perform really well, in all honesty, and unless you're really wanting the best performance, go for the non-RGB version. But saying that, the RGB version is that close in comparison, it won't really make much of a difference, and I'd be happy to go for either. And especially if you're wanting a nice looks inside of a case with addressable RGB or digital RGB, depending on what you want to call it, then I would highly recommend you give this cooler a look in it. And the bonus is the cable management on it as well. It's hell of a lot better than some of the others out there, where you've got like about 10 cables coming out of the water cooler, where there's just 2. One for powering it, so powering the pump and the fans, as well as one for the addressable RGB. Obviously, if you get the non-RGB version, it doesn't even have an RGB cable, so you only have one cable, which is pretty amazing, to be honest. Why more coolers don't do this, I don't know, but to be honest with you, it always sells me on the product. If I'm wanting a nice, neat looking case, then you can get the non-RGB version, or the RGB version, or addressable RGB version, depending on which one you want, and it will look very neat and tidy, and not loads of cabling you have to mess about with or worry about. So I'm going to give this product our Hell Yeah award. Thank you for watching this video, everyone. It's really appreciated you made it all the way to the end. Please make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and even click that bell so you get notifications of new videos and live streams. It does help support the channel, and supporting the channel basically means that we can release more content for you, and also better quality content going forward. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.